Hickok 45 here. We're going to look at a $600 U.S. Army pistol, and then one that's a little bit more expensive, as you can see from the title. This is the one that's not too expensive, and we'll look and explore what the reason for that might be, at least as compared with the other one. We happen to have a bit of a contrast at the compound, this week, and we just couldn't resist kind of delving into this a little bit. They're both 45 long Colt, 45 Colt, right? And they look a lot alike. Look at this. We got two pistols. They were called pistols back then. Don't have a heart attack. But these two revolvers are very much alike. U.S. cavalry issue, pretty much. One a replica, one an original, but they're very much alike. Look at that. Same length, same one-piece grips. They feel very, very similar. You pick them up, and the same chambering. They both, most importantly, have U.S. on the side. Both were issued to cavalry, right? Well, maybe not the one you're looking at, but yeah, they look a whole lot alike. And before we get into this, I want to thank the people that help us. Bud's Gun Shop, great outfit, and long support of the channel. Check them out. They're right there at your computer screen. And don't forget Silencer Central, accessible anywhere, right? And you've seen the Banish line here many times. They do one thing, do it really well. The Sonoran Desert Institute, great outfit. You can get all kinds of learning and education, right there on your computer screen, a lot of it, about firearms, drones, you name it, okay? Appreciate people to help us out. So yeah, we just couldn't resist. There is such an amazing contrast here. If you've ever been to a gun show, a large gun show, regional, national, whatever, and sometimes local shows, well, it depends on where you live. If you live in Tulsa, you have a local show there that's the biggest gun show on the planet, right? So local's relative. But you see a lot of firearms like this, whether it's old Winchesters, old Colts, gosh, you name it, Mausers and anything, and they can be really, really expensive. And but yet the same firearm, same configuration that was made recently is generally not that expensive, is it? It's thankfully. And then these are available by and large to all of us, replicas of an actual Henry, 1860 Henry rifle, 1866 lever gun. All those are available to us, old muzzle loaders from the early 1800s. Yeah, sometimes they're not cheap. It may be $700, $800, $1,500, but they're not just way out of reach, up into the $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 range, as some of the originals can be. And then, as I had mentioned before, if you have an original Henry, a real one that might be $50,000 or $100,000, where do you get ammo? Where do you go buy your rimfire 44 Henry ammo? Good question, huh? So thankfully there are a lot of replicas of these guns, and so always I would take a look at this, kind of neat. Also want to thank Alabama Holster for their support of the channel. Great little Kydex holsters, my favorite. Check them out. They've got all kinds of holsters that you could use. I use them every day. So I'll let you guess which one would fall into the $600 category, right? The replica of the Colt Cavalry model. Well, we happen to have this here. And yep, that's it. And it's, again, same configuration. So what about it? It chambers 45 Colt. In fact, we'll prove it. We'll put some in it and shoot the thing. 45 Colt, just like the original, and pretty much holds 6 rounds. And I haven't weighed them, but they're probably about the same weight, right? And they got about the same sights. They're gonna shoot with the same power factor, don't you imagine? And 5 or 6 shots, they feel the same. They're gonna shoot about the same. Let's shoot that target. 1, 2. Yeah. Let's shoot that stop sign. How about that 2-liter? How about that bowling pin? Maybe a pot. Yep, I think I went over it. Yeah. Yep, shoots just fine. If I had been around in the 1880s, I could have been issued this very firearm, and I would have been fine, I guess. It would have held up, I guess, just fine. Okay? So, for a lot less. So, what is it that makes something that's basically the same piece of metal when you get down to it? I mean, there's variations. I don't know enough about to get into metallurgy, Italians versus the Americans back in the 1880s and that kind of thing. But I do know with CNC machinery and everything, this thing should be made, pretty well, right? Same parts. I don't know how interchangeable they would be. Probably a lot of them would be. So what makes the big difference? It almost is a question that doesn't need to be answered, right? This baby, this is again my original cavalry Colt, the best firearm I own. Lives a lot in the bank box. It's the best firearm, most valuable, most collectible, and it's kind of appropriate, isn't it, for someone who is a Colt single action nut. And that's why I ended up with this out in Las Vegas at the Antique Gun Show one year. And so what was it that makes it more expensive? The obvious, of course, the age. 1883 is the date on it. It was made in 1883. So we all know antiques, tend to be valuable if it's anything desirable at all, right? The fact that it was issued to the United States, Army, and very likely was carried by somebody in uniform. My guess is he was on horseback. He probably didn't, put this thing in a holster and jump in his Camry or his Dodge Ram pickup truck, right? At the end of the day, he was probably on a horse when he was not walking. And, and of course, condition makes a big difference, when you're talking about something that old. And this is in pretty good condition. It's definitely not the best, but it's in pretty good shape. It still fires. You've seen it. And just for you all, because you're so special, I'm going to fire it again today. I have some black powder cartridges, and I'm going to fire it for you. Also, one thing that makes a firearm pretty expensive, you got the age, you got the rarity, of course, the rarity. You don't find one like this just everywhere. And the condition is pretty good. And then also with this one, it has the Kopek letter. I have the Kopek letter. For those in the know, that is a person, I believe he's still living, who inspects these. He is one of the top living experts on the Colt single action, has written on it extensively. Real authority, not a make-believe internet authority, right? And if you send this off to him, he takes it down and looks at it and looks at the authenticity of everything and then writes up a summary of it. And I have that. And that's the only way I would have gotten this. If it didn't have a Kopek letter, I would not have gotten it, because there's fakes and, parts that it might be mostly authentic, but there's some parts that, someone just happened to fake the cylinder or some parts or not. It's just nice to know that. And so I've got that letter, and it's authentic, and it's cool. He even put a note on that whoever sent it to him at that point, that he might be interested in it if they ever wanted to sell it, that kind of thing. So there are guns like this in better shape, of course, but it apparently was attractive to him. But anyway, I've got the Kopek letter, and that is something that adds to the valuable. So anyway, those are some things that make the difference, and I'm going to just shoot it for you. I shouldn't do it. I should make you clean it. Okay, I haven't fired it in a while. Might have been a year. I don't know. So let's fire it. Yeah. A lot of people would think it's a totally frivolous thing to put this much money in a handgun like this that you are not even going to carry for self-defense or go hunting with. But I tell you what, in the days of inflation in recent years, this might have been the smartest place to invest. And I say $600 versus $10K, I don't know, maybe worth another 50% by now. That's been what, 5 or 6 years ago. All right, let's just shoot the stop sign. if I can hit it. All right. Black powder. Nice. That was a nice fill. Let's see if I don't remember where to hold with it. Let's shoot some pot with it. Want to? You don't need to smoke pot when you're producing so much black powder smoke. Oh man, I don't know where that one went. I can't see for the smoke. I'm gonna hit him though. Yeah, what'd I tell you? I think I might have one left. Let's do a little bowling with it. All right, I believe that was it. Yeah. So, you're welcome. I fired it. Now I'll have to ballast all the heck out of it and clean it up. But I just was determined to do that. This is like the old cowboy matches I used to shoot. I would just spray them down just to make them so much easier to clean. And more importantly, I had another stage or 2 or 3 or 4 to shoot that day. And so I just wet them down, make sure they were okay. So now what I do, I got it all dripping, didn't I? That's okay. It's all right. So yeah, that's the thing. Firearms can be lots of different price ranges. And when you go back this far, of course, and if you have something that's in decent shape, it's going to be expensive. That's just a fact of life. And that's what makes that so expensive. You know, the rarity, the authenticity, it's a cult. It'll continue to appreciate, you know, in value and more than most things that I or you might have, even, you know. And it's beyond all that. You have that other aspect, something like for those of you who appreciate history, it's interesting, and antiques are just kind of interesting. Even if it's an antique you're not crazy about, like a vase or something, or a piece of furniture, and someone tells you it was made in 1790, you give it a second look. Really? That's neat. You know, really. Well, you know, 1883. It kind of, you know, this one takes you back into history, right? This one definitely takes you back in history because it was in history, right? And just holding it and firing it, just looking at it, you know, just trying to imagine who all carried that thing and what they were up to, what they were doing. You just never know. But that's part of the value, the rarity, the authenticity of it. Again, you know, having proof of that makes a big difference. If I were to go to sell it, you know, yeah, I got the Kopek letter. Well, that speaks volumes. Then you don't have to say, well, I don't know, I tend to believe you, Hickok. You ain't ever lied to me before, but how do you know that that's authentic in every way? So that adds to the value. So quite a contrast. Just thought it'd be a little fun since we had the Cimarron out here, which is a nice gun in and of itself, to just do almost an absurd contrast in terms of value. And again, I may be way off on 10. It may be another 5. I don't know by now. But it's pretty neat. And it's also kudos to Cimarron and the Italians that make these, because it renders them accessible to everybody. It's pretty cool. And then you're going to shoot it a lot. That's what you want. I'm not going to shoot that a lot. I wouldn't do that. You know, I competed in cowboy action shooting. I shot Colts sometimes. But I shot these as well, and I shot Rugers, and you know, if you're going to put hundreds and thousands of rounds through them, you're better off with a Colt clone probably, or a Ruger, that kind of thing anyway. So that's enough about that, I guess. U.S. Army pistols. Yep, U.S. Army pistols, 2 of them. Quite a contrast, and both can be a lot of fun. Life is good.
Oh yeah, that's better. This is a great gun for defense. Oh hey, didn't see you guys there. While I've got you here, I want to remind you of our friends over at Talon Grips and Ballistol. Talon Grips makes grips, can you believe it, for all different types of firearms. You can get rough texture or more of a rubberized texture. It just sticks right on there. You know, really affordable, really cool option to improve the grip for your handguns or rifles. So please check them out at talongungrips.com. You'll be glad you did. And also Ballistol. Dad has been using Ballistol for many years. It's a cleaner and a lubricant, and it's non-toxic. It works really great, and we're happy to have them on board since it's been a part of our shooting endeavor for a very long time. So go to ballistol.com, talongungrips.com. And also, while you're out there, I'm juggling all these things here. Also, while you're on the internet, please do check out our other social media like Hickok45 on Facebook. There's also Hickok45 on Twitter, The Real Hickok45 on Instagram. There's a John_Hickok45 on Instagram where I do some things. There's Hickok45.com. You can find us also on Gunstreamer. So check out all that stuff and then watch more videos.